The psychology of procrastination. Why we delay what matters most. Level B. 1. Intermediate. Procrastination is something almost everyone experiences. It is the feeling of knowing what you need to do, understanding why it is important, but still choosing to delay the task. Many people think procrastination is simply laziness, weakness, or a lack of discipline. But the truth is more complex and much more interesting. Procrastination is not about being lazy at all. It is about how our brain works, how we respond to emotions, and how we protect ourselves from discomfort. In this story, we will explore the psychology behind procrastination. We will look at why we avoid important tasks, how emotions influence our decisions, and what simple strategies can help us break the habit. You will learn how your brain reacts to stress, why deadlines sometimes push us to work harder, and why we often delay things that matter to us the most. Let's begin with a simple idea. Procrastination is not a time problem. It is an emotional problem. Many people say, "I have too much to do," or "I have no time." But time is not the main reason we delay tasks. The real reason is emotional discomfort. A difficult task can make you feel fear, stress, confusion, or insecurity. Your brain wants to avoid these unpleasant feelings. So instead of starting the task, you choose something easier: watching videos, cleaning your room, checking social media, or making another cup of tea. It feels better in the moment but creates more stress later. This happens because of a part of the brain called the amygdala. The amygdala reacts to danger. When it senses something uncomfortable, it tries to protect you by pushing you away from the situation. Even if the task is not dangerous, your brain reacts as if it is. That is why writing an email, starting a project, or making an important decision can feel scary. Your brain is not protecting you from a tiger, it is protecting you from discomfort. But there is another part of your brain called the prefrontal cortex. This part helps you plan, think long-term, and make decisions. It knows what you should do and why it is important. So inside your mind, these two parts fight. The amygdala says, "Avoid," and the prefrontal cortex says, "Start now." Procrastination happens when the amygdala wins. Let's look at an example. Imagine you need to write an important report. You sit down at your desk, open a blank document, and try to start. Suddenly, you feel nervous. You think, "What if I write something bad? What if I fail? What if it's not perfect?" These thoughts create anxiety. To escape this feeling, your brain suggests something easier. Maybe you check your phone or open YouTube. You tell yourself you will return to the task in 5 minutes. But 5 minutes becomes 30, and 30 becomes 2 hours. Later, you feel guilty and stressed. This is the classic cycle of procrastination. Task anxiety, avoidance, relief, guilt, more anxiety. The interesting thing is that the relief part is very short, but your brain remembers it. Every time you avoid a task, you feel a tiny moment of relief, and your brain learns, avoiding feels good. So next time, it tells you to avoid again, even when you know it will hurt you later. This is how procrastination becomes a habit. Another reason we procrastinate is perfectionism. Many people want their work to be perfect. They want to write the perfect message, create the perfect project, or make the perfect decision. But perfection is impossible, especially on the first try. When we expect perfection, we feel afraid of making mistakes. And when we feel afraid, we delay. This creates what psychologists call the fear of failure. You are so afraid of doing something wrong that you would rather not start at all. But there is also another fear, the fear of success. This happens when success means more responsibility, more expectations, or more pressure. Sometimes, deep inside, people delay tasks because they are afraid of the changes that success might bring. Let's explore another emotional reason: low self-esteem. When you don't believe in your abilities, tasks seem harder. You may think, "I'm not good enough," "I can't do this," or "someone else would do it better." These thoughts make the task feel heavier and scarier. As a result, you delay it to avoid feeling bad about yourself. But procrastination is not always emotional. Sometimes it comes from confusion. When a task is unclear or too big, your brain feels lost. You don't know where to start, so you do nothing. Breaking a big task into small steps can help, because your brain sees a clear path. There is also the problem of rewards. Humans love instant rewards. They make us feel good quickly, but important tasks usually give us rewards later, after hours or days of work. So your brain chooses instant pleasure over long-term benefits. This is called present bias. It is the same reason why people eat unhealthy food even when they want to lose weight, or why they stay up late even when they want to wake up early. One more important factor is stress. When you feel stressed, your brain tries to avoid anything that adds more stress. Even if the task is small, starting it can feel impossible. That is why procrastination often appears when people are tired, overwhelmed, or depressed. It is a natural response to emotional overload. But procrastination is not always bad. Sometimes delaying a task gives your mind time to think, explore ideas, and make better decisions. Some people use procrastination to work under pressure because adrenaline helps them focus. But this is risky. It can damage your health, reduce creativity, and increase anxiety. Now let's talk about how procrastination feels. It often starts with a small emotional signal, a quiet voice inside that says, "Not now." It seems innocent. You think you have time. You tell yourself you will start later, but later never comes, because the emotional discomfort never disappears on its own. Many people only start working when the fear of failing becomes stronger than the fear of starting. This leads to a question: are procrastinators lazy? The answer is no. Laziness means you don't want to do anything. But procrastinators often want to do the task, they just can't start because of emotional resistance. In fact, many procrastinators are smart, creative, and hardworking. Their problem is not motivation, it is emotional regulation. They struggle to manage their feelings, not their time. Another interesting fact is that procrastination is not always the same. There are different types. Some people delay because they feel overwhelmed. Others delay because they get bored easily. Some people avoid tasks that are connected to personal goals because these tasks feel too meaningful and scary. Understanding your type of procrastination can help you break the habit. Now, let's talk about how procrastination affects our lives. It can lead to stress, anxiety, missed opportunities, and unfinished dreams. It can damage relationships, career growth, and self-confidence. Every time you delay an important task, you send a message to yourself: "I can't do this." Over time, this message becomes a belief. But this belief is not true. It is just a habit. So how can we break the cycle? Before we explore strategies in the second half, we need to understand 3 key truths. First, procrastination is not a personal flaw, it is a psychological response to discomfort. Second, emotions control procrastination more than time or discipline. Third, small actions can change the entire pattern. When you understand these truths, everything becomes easier. In the next part, we will explore practical tools to overcome procrastination. You will learn how to start quickly, how to calm your emotions, how to reduce fear, and how to train your brain to enjoy progress. You will discover simple habits that change everything: the 2-minute rule, the imperfect first step, the power of environment, and the science of motivation. Now that we understand the emotional roots of procrastination, let's explore how to break the cycle. Remember, procrastination is not a problem of time. It is a problem of emotions. So the key to change is learning how to manage those emotions in a healthy, gentle way. Let's begin with one of the simplest techniques, the 2-minute rule. This rule says, if a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. Why does this help? Because starting is the hardest part. When you complete a small task quickly, your brain learns that action feels good. This creates momentum, a sense of movement. Once you start doing small tasks, bigger tasks become easier. Another helpful idea is the imperfect first step. Many people delay tasks because they want their work to be perfect. They want to begin with the best idea, the best sentence, or the best plan. But perfectionism creates pressure, and pressure creates fear. The imperfect first step tells you, just start badly, start messy, start simple, write a rough sentence, draw an unfinished sketch, make a basic plan. When the pressure disappears, your brain relaxes, and you can continue more easily. A similar technique is the 5-minute promise. Tell yourself, I will work for just 5 minutes. Most people can do something for 5 minutes. After you start, you often continue much longer because the emotional wall disappears. You overcome the hardest part beginning. Another important tool is breaking tasks into small pieces. Psychologists call this chunking. When a task is too big, your brain feels overwhelmed. It doesn't know where to start. But when you divide the big task into small steps, each step feels easy and manageable. For example, if you want to clean your room, don't think, I need to clean everything. Think, I will pick up the clothes. Then I will clean the table. Then I will vacuum the floor. Each small step is simple, and completing it gives you confidence. You can also use environment design. Your environment strongly influences your behavior. If your desk is full of distractions, your brain will choose them. If your phone is near you, your brain will check it. To fight procrastination, change your environment so that the right choice becomes the easy choice. Put your phone in another room. Close unnecessary tabs. Prepare only the tools you need. Even cleaning your desk can help your mind feel clear and ready. Another powerful idea is reducing friction. Friction is anything that makes starting difficult. For example, if you need to find materials before studying, that is friction. If your workspace is messy, that is friction. If your files are unorganized, that is friction. Reduce friction by preparing your materials in advance, keeping things organized, and making the first step as simple as possible. One of the most emotional parts of procrastination is self-criticism. Many people blame themselves when they delay a task. They think, I am lazy, I am useless, or I will never change. But self-criticism makes procrastination worse. It increases stress and fear, which makes the task even harder to start. Instead, psychologists recommend self-compassion. This means being kind to yourself when you struggle. Say to yourself, this is difficult, but I can try. Or, it's okay to find this hard. Many people do. Kindness reduces stress and helps the brain feel safe enough to begin. Another helpful strategy is connecting the task to meaning. Ask yourself, why does this matter? People procrastinate less when a task is connected to their values. For example, studying English is easier when you remember your goal, traveling comfortably, getting a better job, or understanding movies without subtitles. When you see the purpose, the task becomes meaningful, and your brain feels more motivated. You can also use visualization. Imagine yourself completing the task. Imagine the feeling of relief, pride, or satisfaction. This mental image activates the same parts of the brain as real success. It gives you emotional motivation and reduces fear. You can also visualize the consequences of not doing the task, the stress, the disappointment, the regret. This contrast helps your brain choose action. Another important technique is time blocking. This means scheduling specific times for specific tasks. Instead of working whenever you feel like it, you choose a time and protect it. Your brain likes structure. When you consistently work at the same time each day, the habit becomes automatic. You no longer wait for motivation, you follow a routine. Motivation itself is an interesting topic. Many people wait for motivation to appear before starting. But psychologists say motivation is not the cause of action, it is the result of action. You begin working first, and then motivation grows. A small step creates energy, and energy creates more action. So don't wait for motivation, create it. Another tool that helps fight procrastination is setting deadlines, especially short ones. Deadlines create urgency. They tell your brain, this matters now. But deadlines work best when they are not too stressful. Gentle deadlines help you focus without triggering panic. You can also add rewards. Humans love rewards. They make the brain release dopamine, a chemical that motivates you to continue. After finishing a small task, reward yourself with something enjoyable, a short break, a snack, or a walk outside. These small rewards train your brain to connect action with pleasure. Let's explore the connection between procrastination and fear. Many delayed tasks are emotional tasks. Writing a message, calling someone, making a decision. These actions feel risky because they involve emotional exposure. You may fear rejection, judgment, or conflict. Your brain protects you by avoiding the task, but avoiding only increases the fear because your imagination creates worst-case scenarios. To break this cycle, practice emotional exposure. Do the small, scary tasks regularly. Over time, your brain learns that nothing terrible happens, and the fear becomes weaker. Another emotional challenge is boredom. Sometimes a task is simply not interesting. Your brain wants stimulation, not slow, repetitive work. To help with this, you can use the stimulation strategy: add music, change your environment, or use timers like the Pomodoro technique. Work for 25 minutes, rest for 5. These changes create small bursts of interest that help your brain stay engaged. We also procrastinate when we lose connection with our future self. The future feels far away. Many people don't see their future self as the same person. They think, future me will do the work. But future you is still you, the same person with the same tiredness and the same emotions. To fight this disconnect, imagine your future self clearly. Imagine how tired they will feel if you delay the task. Imagine how grateful they will be if you start now. This creates empathy between your present self and your future self. Another important skill is learning how to start small and finish small. Starting small means choosing the simplest possible beginning. Finishing small means stopping before you feel exhausted. Many people think they must do everything at once, but this leads to burnout. Working in small, controlled sessions helps your brain stay calm and consistent. Now let's look at identity. Your identity is how you see yourself. If you see yourself as a procrastinator, you will act like one. But if you see yourself as someone who takes small steps, someone who tries, someone who moves forward even a little, your actions will change. Identity shapes behavior. When you tell yourself, "I am the kind of person who starts small," your brain supports that identity. Another powerful idea is accepting discomfort. Many tasks feel uncomfortable at first. Your brain wants to escape that feeling. But if you accept the discomfort, if you say, "I can work even when it feels unpleasant," you develop emotional strength. The discomfort becomes smaller over time, and starting becomes easier. Let's talk about energy. Your mind and body need energy to work. When you are tired, you procrastinate more. When you are rested, hydrated, and calm, everything feels easier. Sleep, exercise, and breaks are not luxuries, they are tools against procrastination. Another interesting point is the role of curiosity. When you approach a task with curiosity, you feel less pressure. Instead of thinking, "I must do this perfectly," think, "Let me explore this," or "Let me see what happens." Curiosity reduces fear and increases creativity. Let's look at another tool: public commitment. When you tell someone you will do a task, it becomes real. You feel responsible. You want to keep your promise. This external pressure helps many people start and continue their work. We can also talk about the importance of celebrating small wins. Many people focus only on big goals, but big goals take time. If you wait for the final result to feel proud, you lose motivation. Instead, celebrate each step. Every small action is progress. Every step forward is a victory. Now, let's talk about failure. Many people fear failure so much that they prefer not to start. But failure is part of growth. Every mistake teaches you something. Every wrong turn shows you a better path. When you accept failure as a normal part of learning, procrastination becomes weaker. Another helpful idea is separating planning from doing. Planning is easy. Doing is harder. Many people plan constantly but never act. The solution is simple. Schedule time only for action, not for thinking. When it is time to act, act. When it is time to plan, plan. Separating the two helps your brain focus. Finally, let's talk about compassion and patience. Changing habits takes time. You will still procrastinate sometimes. You will still feel resistance. That is normal. The goal is not to eliminate procrastination completely. The goal is to understand it, manage it, and reduce its power. When you treat yourself with kindness, your brain learns to feel safe, and safe brains can start tasks more easily. Procrastination is not a sign of weakness. It is a message from your emotions. It tells you that something feels uncomfortable, scary, or overwhelming. The solution is not to force yourself, but to support yourself. Small steps, gentle tools, and emotional awareness can transform your relationship with work, goals, and yourself. Now, you understand the psychology behind procrastination. You know why your brain delays tasks and how to help it move forward. You know how fear, stress, perfectionism, and habits shape your actions, and how small changes can create big results. The next time you face an important task, listen to your emotions. Then choose a small, gentle step. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin.